Australia stands at a crossroads. We're just weeks away from a referendum on an Indigenous voice to Parliament.
Do you approve this proposed alteration? That's the question.
There are over 335,000 Pacific people living in Australia, and many have direct ties with Indigenous and Torres Strait communities.
Pacific Islanders have had our own connections to the land, and from the land, it gives you your identity, your links, your values, your beliefs.
So, are there any lessons for Australia to learn from the experiences of Pacific nations? Many Pacific countries have grappled with the challenges of decolonisation, and some have made strides to include Indigenous cultures in politics and the legal system. In fact, Vanuatu has had a body very similar to a voice to Parliament since 1979. The nation has a constitutionally enshrined Chiefly Council, and when it comes to any bills before Parliament, the Mauwatu Māori Council of Chiefs must be consulted, especially on issues relating to land, tradition and customs. Similarly, New Caledonia has an Indigenous body called the Customary State.
And it must be consulted by the Congress of New Caledonia, which is the elected body, on matters dealing with Kanak custom and identity. Its role is very much advisory. Authority resides with the elected Congress. The significance for Australia is that this body doesn't threaten democratic debate, it actually enhances it.
Customary land ownership is also a priority for many Pacific countries. As much as 80% of the land in Pacific nations is thought to remain in traditional hands. While it's difficult to compare other countries' experiences with Australia's, it's clear many of our Pacific neighbours prioritise these rights and customs of traditional owners. And that may be what's prompted a raft of former Pacific leaders to come out in support of a yes vote. The Pacific Elders' Voice said in a statement passing the referendum should be a first step towards a treaty with First Nations people, and they support the momentum by First Nations in seeking to redress the injustices they faced.
We say no! We say no!
No campaigners disagree and say a yes vote will do nothing to help right the wrongs of the past, nor help Indigenous peoples today.
The Voice is flawed in its foundations. It is built on lies and an aggressive attempt to fracture our nation's founding document and divide the country built upon it.
For Pacific Islanders here in Australia, Bella Swan says the main thing is to get out and vote and make sure their voice is heard.
Pacific Islanders in Australia, I encourage you and I ask you to go out and vote.